Hey, everyone. We are back, and I hope that you enjoyed last week. I hope that you talked about how amazing you were and how wonderful you were and all the wonderful things about you. I hope you took the time to do that. And this week, I want to make sure that if you didn't listen to the podcast last week, that you go and check out the latest episode of All the Things with the Magical Cartographers, because this week we will be live doing all the things live on Tuesday evening. So come and join us. Let us know what you think about the podcast. We want you to share your story. So please make sure that you come out and do that. So let's get started with these cards this week. Last week was pretty good. See if we can top it this week. All right, let's get started with our spiritual connection card. And for that, we have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords. For our health and happiness, we have the Devil card is back in that same spot. We had him here 2 weeks ago. For our love and relationships, we have the Three of Cups. In our business and career, we have Six of Wands. And finally, we have in our overall card, we have the Hangman. Okay, so we're having a little reversion back to the beginning of July here, but it's okay. So internally, it looks like we need to start moving forward with some things, but I feel like we're still hanging on. We're still hanging on to something that isn't really good for us. And externally, it looks like we're going to have a lot of people around us. It feels like this week, which always feels good to me. If you're an introvert, maybe not so much for you. But we're going to need to take some reflection time here this week. So let's just see. Let's just take them one by one, shall we? All right. So let's start with our spiritual connection card. And here we have the Knight of Swords. So this is about speaking your mind, right? And moving forward, as you're thinking about connecting within, connecting to spirit, it feels like it's a time that you share your spiritual connection with other people. Maybe you've been reserving, hiding a part of yourself and your spiritual connection. Maybe you've been hiding that for some reason, or you haven't felt comfortable in talking about that in your everyday life. And it feels like you would get some benefit from sharing that part of you with others. I think there's something that you need to be communicating with folks, and it's gonna require you to open up a little bit about that connection to spirit to help explain that to people. So if you find yourself in a conversation with someone and it turns to spirit, it turns to faith, if you're comfortable enough with it, I encourage you to really open up as much as you can because other people need to hear your perspective. Okay, next for our health and happiness, we have the Devil card again. Now, 2 weeks ago, when we had this card here, I told you that I didn't think you knew something was going on. I wasn't sure. I didn't think that you knew a person or a situation you were in was bad news for you. This week, I feel like you know. I feel like you learned about it, you recognize it now, but you still haven't let it go. And maybe you've been telling yourself that it's not that bad. You got it under control. I took some baby steps. Whatever it is, the joy or the happiness that you're trying to create in this situation is not real. It's not based on anything real. It's based on this kind of fantasy that you're continuing to perpetuate in your life. And it's not sustainable. And it's not really joy or happiness that you're experiencing. It's just the fantasy still showing up there. And you've got to let it go because it really is pulling you in deeper and deeper, and things are going to turn. And I would rather you get out of the situation before that happens than still be in it. So, whatever that situation is that you recognized 2 weeks ago, you got to let it go. Next, let's move to our love and relationships. And here we have the Three of Cups. It's funny, this card in this deck doesn't always feel great to me, but it does feel like a fun time. It feels like there are opportunities for you to be with other people and just being joyful, just enjoying life, finding some happiness and celebrating together. I would say if there are people around you who, if there's some new accomplishments, if there's some new things that have happened in your life that you just want to celebrate with friends, like don't stay home by yourself, right? Find some friends, go out and have a drink or, go to the movies or do something. But it feels really important to be around others this week and just be joyful, right? Just have a good time. It doesn't have to be for any other reason. Okay, next for our business and career, we have the Six of Wands. And having just had the full moon at Capricorn last week, it feels like within your business, within your career, that you've started to open up to people. You started to share your thoughts and your ideas. You started talking about this with your coworkers or people who work for you or together with you. And you're starting to get some praise, right? People are starting to really acknowledge you, and it feels good. People say great things, but it really feels like you're starting to find your groove and you're starting to help people get into the flow of fixing their problems, fixing what's going on. Your strength has been helping other people find their strength to fix things. And so take it. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge it when people wanna thank you for the support, and keep that confidence going strong. And then for our overall card this week, we have the Hanged Man. Now, the same week that we had the Devil, we also had the Hangman, but this was in our spiritual connection card. So now I see this card more as an opportunity to, yes, find new perspectives. But the Hangman itself is generally a card of taking that pause so that you can reflect and gather your thoughts and see things from a new perspective. And all of that applies, but this card feels like you need to reflect because there's an imbalance in things that are growing in your life. And you're not quite sure which side you want to be on. You're not quite sure if the subconscious intuitive stuff that's calling to you, if that's what you want to really lean towards, or if the kind of bright light public persona and the thoughts and ideas and things that you can bring out very publicly, if that's the way that you want to focus. And so it feels like you may be called to be around people quite a bit. I'd say just be mindful of why, right? Try to think about really what you're getting from being around other people. I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to go out and have fun with folks. And you might feel like it's been a lot, like it's too much energy, or you might feel like overly stimulated by being around all those folks. But there's a message there. There's a learning that's going to happen when you go through this experience and you tap into whatever's bubbling up inside of you, because internally you're trying to find an answer to a question that I don't think you're fully aware of yet. And I think it has to do with how you're going to move forward. I want to say professionally, but I'm thinking more of your life, that there's a part of your life that feels like you're at a crossroads and you really are kind of right in the middle of which way do I go? Which direction should I take? And being out with others and knowing your boundaries, letting go of the stuff that is toxic and you know is toxic, but being out and about, there's something that I think is going to start to bubble in you, and you know that there's going to be a need for you to slow down a little bit and see what that bubbling is all about, because it's going to help you to move forward. And hopefully next week we'll see what that leads into. I mean, overall it feels like a good week, but just be mindful of what's bubbling up inside of you. That's it. Let me know how this feels for you. Let me know how your week goes, and stay magical, y'all.